I wanted to ask a little bit about Ryan Kerrigan. He's the veteran for this group that has been such a leader and an important part of this team for a while now. How does he fit into your scheme, and how do you rotate those guys on the edges and work in Montez Sweat, Ryan Anderson, just that collection of talent on the edge?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to work with Ryan so far. First and foremost, he's a great student of the game in the classroom. And then when we had a chance to get on the field, just to see him work and his approach to the game, very serious about the game. And, he doesn't take anything for granted. He's going to be a great leader and mentor for everyone in that room starting off. And as far as getting guys on the field, a typical game, if we're playing good on defense, we should be on the field anywhere between 55 and 65 snaps. And you don't want a guy to play all those snaps. There's no need when we have able bodies, to go along with them. So we can have a fresh rotation and everybody can get a piece.
I was wondering Ron Rivera has talked so much about culture and what he wants to bring here. As someone who worked with him for all those years in Carolina, how did he build that? What did you see as a coach working with him in that regard?
As far as Coach Rivera's outlook on the culture, I would tell our guys, and I tell you guys the same thing. It's not a sometimes thing. Ron is really a man of his word, and it is every day. And, he holds his coaches to a high standard, and that bleeds over to the players. Everything we do is for one reason and one reason only, and that's to win. And if it's not there helping us win, we're not doing it. Ron is a great guy to work for because you know what you're going to get. He's a wonderful human being to begin with. And I think everybody in this building and organization understands that, and they've felt that over the past couple months. So it's easy to work for him. But changing the culture is just when you do the right thing. He says it's not always easy, but you got to do the right thing. Whether it's easy or not, you have to do the right thing. And that's the approach that we take every day.
What sort of challenges are there just in teaching technique by Zoom and doing everything virtually throughout the off season, especially with a younger group? Did you have to get creative in any ways to be able to teach these guys without getting them on the field at all?
Well, first and foremost, the challenge was, we're used to being in the room with these guys and being able to stand a guy up and talk technique. And the other thing was having his undivided attention. We're used to that. So we had to take into consideration that, they're at home with their families. So every now and then there may be a little kid's head pop up on the screen or something. So, you got to just remember to give guys breaks and let them deal with certain things in their house for a quick second. But our guys did a really good job of locking in and focusing in when we needed to. But I think we just, as coaches, it forced us to kind of step our game up and, using different apps or whatnot to test guys and keep them sharp. But I think I actually like it. I like where it's made football go. I think it's made us grow somewhat and look down different avenues for different ways of learning. And to be honest with you, I think some of the universities have been using it already. So the guys were more comfortable than we were probably.
And you looked at pretty much all these players, most of these players anyway, coming out of college. How did that help you coming into this situation, just having some sort of foundation on who they are as players?
Yeah, so a lot of these guys, I interviewed them when I was in Carolina. So I had actually met most of my room before I got a chance to meet them as Redskins. So that was big, just having a relationship just from going and working guys out or at the combine or whatnot. And I'm usually an on-the-field guy at the combine, so I had a chance to talk to most of these guys already.
I'm curious about Chase Young. I know, there hasn't been a great opportunity to get him on the field a ton, but what have been your impressions from the meetings, from just maybe even some pre-draft stuff through now?
The young man is determined. He's determined. He's not just trying to come here and sit on what he did at his university or anything. He is here and he's ready to work and he's ready to compete. He comes with that attitude every day. When we did get to see him fly around on the grass, you can tell he's been studying. He knows what he's doing right now, and it's not too big for him. And, with a rookie, you always worry about, kind of mental overload. And he's been really good so far. So I'm excited about his future. And I'm excited about how fast he's picking everything up.
What separates a lot of guys come in this league with talent potential as a pass rusher? What's the separator going forward?
So from college, you got to understand, when you were in college, some guys only see one NFL caliber player. Here you're going to see every day, whether we're in practice or a game, you're going to see the elite guys. And I think you got to work on your craft. You have to study your craft. You have to appreciate this game and the history of this game. And, that's my job, to make them understand in that room, we're going to take nothing for granted. We're going to study our opponent, and then we're going to attack.
Everybody is really excited about this group's potential when it comes to getting to the quarterback, but how can you make sure they're better at stopping the run? And are there any players on your line that you think will be particularly key as you try to get better at stopping the run?
So responsibility and accountability. If we're going to lead our defense, which, hey, let's be honest, this room is supposed to lead this defense. If we're going to lead our defense, we have to be accountable to everyone. And, Jack has built a great defense, and if we do our job, it'll all take care of itself.
Just curious, we're obviously asking a lot of questions about the main players on the defensive line, but there's some interesting guys potentially in the backup roles, and from Tim Settle to the kid you drafted in the 7th round, Smith Williams, Nate Orchard, so on. As you've studied their tape and kind of try to figure them out, what kind of stands out to you about those guys?
So, we can start with Tim. Tim is a talented young man who's got a very bright future. And, he's been learning from the vets, and he's been very, very active in the meetings. I can't wait to get him in here and start working with him. The other rookie that we drafted, James Smith Williams, he is very talented. Also, when you look at him, you get really excited. He's got the size and the speed, and I know you guys all know his intelligence level, with his future job outside of football already lined up. So he's a very sharp young man. When you talk about Nate, hey, Nate's another guy that I think can flourish in this system of attacking and not reading, and just being aggressive. So I'm very happy about the guys we have behind our front line, because I think, in these seasons, you need all hands on deck. And you never know when you're going to have to rely on a guy and count on a guy. So we're getting everybody ready to play.
You mentioned versatility, and obviously that goes for interior defensive tackles in the 4-3 front, but also for ends. Do you envision being able to use guys like Kerrigan and maybe even Montez and Chase kicked inside and closer to the ball, and therefore a little bit more of a direct route to the quarterback? Or do you kind of view them as just more defensive ends and playing, against the tackles more?
I always take as many defensive linemen on the field as we can get. So how many ever Coach Del Rio allows me to get on the field, I love to get them on the field. But also with that, hey, if you can play inside and you're an end, I'm going to play you inside. The same thing for the tackles. If they can play outside, I'll play outside. Anyway, we have to get the job done. On game day, you can only keep X amount of guys up. So whoever we have up on game day will be able to play up front.
Thanks. Oh, can I ask a quick follow-up? Losing Caleb Brantley, I know you have a lot of talent, but do you guys view that as kind of a significant loss because of depth and because of what he could have been, or how do you kind of meet that out?
Yeah, I always hate losing a rusher. He's got some tape he put together in college, and he was just, really getting his feet underneath him in the pros. So I always hate losing a young, talented guy. But I understand, the dilemma he was dealt with. So, we get him back, and I hope to. I always love having rushers. So it's funny, we looked at that situation kind of like with Carolina. And the reason I say that is this. When Ron came into Carolina, we were dealt with the lockout. So we had to get through that. We had a new quarterback, and we were basically used to building from zero. And culture-wise, we changed the culture there, and it was a day-by-day step. So this challenge to us, it's nothing new. It's just, different names and different personalities, and we're prepared for it.